Welcome to Chess to Impress. These lessons are for beginners, and today we're going to talk about checkmates. What is a checkmate? How do we checkmate? And all the things that come with it. So, while talking about checkmates, right, we need to understand one thing. Let's see what we need to understand. I was just fixing the board, okay? So when it comes to checkmates, getting your opponents in checkmates is the goal of chess, right? That's the reason why we play chess, to finish our opponent's king. You don't actually take the king. When I say the word take, that means you don't actually capture the king in checkmate. You just check their king in a way where they cannot escape. To see if a check is a checkmate, you must ask yourself these three questions. The questions which are on your screen. Can the king run away? Can the check be blocked? Can the checking piece be captured? Using these questions in this position, is black in a checkmate? Right? So let's go one question at a time. First of all, is the black king in a check? Yes, sir. It is in a check. The rook checks the black king. Now let's start with question number 1. Can the king run away? So king has 3 squares. Let's go square by square. h7, g7, and g8. So let's start with h7. Can my king run to h7? Nada. Why? Because the rook controls the h7 square. What about g7 and g8? Same. The answer still remains a no. The queen is there taking care of those 2 squares. So you cannot do number 1. Then we go to number 2. Can the check be blocked? Is there a piece which we can use to block the rook's check? If you haven't seen video number 1, go back and see video number 1. We've discussed all about blocking. Can the rook check be blocked? Yes, we have a bishop which is on the b1 h7 diagonal. What do we do with the bishop? We just fall back and block the check. So if the answer to any one of these 3 questions is a yes, that means your king is safe. That means the king is not in a checkmate. Alright, using these 3 questions, let's solve a couple of more positions, right? So in this position, white just moved his queen from the square e8 to b5. Is this a checkmate? Again, let's ask ourselves these 3 questions. Question number 1, can the king run away? I'm not talking about the king capturing the queen. Let's just wait for that, okay? Let's just wait for that. Can the king run away? Can the king go to these 2 squares? No. Why? Because the queen protects it. Can the king go to these 2 squares? b4 and b6? No, because the queen protects it. Now comes our third question. I mean, the same thing, can the king run away? When I say running away, I mean, can it go to this square? No. Why can't it go to this square? Because the rook protects it. So, the answer to question number 1, which is king cannot run away. So the answer is no. So now we need to go to question number 2. Can the check be blocked? Of course not, because there are no squares in between. The queen is right next to the king. So the answer to question number 2 is also a no. Now let's go to question number 3. Can the checking piece be captured by any of the other pieces black has? Which piece checks the king? The queen checks the king. Right, the queen checks the king. So is there any black piece which captures the queen? Yes, sir. Which piece is that? The knight. Right, the knight can capture the queen. So the answer to the first question is no. The answer to the second question is no. But the answer to the third one is yes. Like I said, if anyone is a yes, which means their king is safe. The king is not in a checkmate. Let's go to position number 3. Alright, black just moved his queen from b5 to b2, and that comes with a check. Question number 1, can the king run away? Can the king go to any of these surrounding squares? No. Why? Because the king cannot go to these 2 squares because the queen protects it. The king cannot go over here because there's that sneaky little bishop on g4 which protects d1. Can the king capture the queen? No, sir, because the knight defends the queen. So the answer to question number 1 is no. What about question number 2? Can the check be blocked? No, it cannot be blocked because the queen is a square away. There needs to be a gap for a piece to intervene. But the queen is just a square away. So the check cannot be blocked. Question number 3. Can the checking piece be captured? Is there any piece, including the white king, which can capture the queen? No, the king cannot capture for obvious reasons, because it'll be in a check, so the king cannot capture it, and none of the other pieces are even looking at the queen. So all the three questions, the answer to all the three of them is no, which means your king is checkmated. It's game over. Black wins 0-1. Alright, let's go to position number 4. Cool. This is, imagine you were playing as white. Alright, and using the following three questions. Okay, you're playing as white. The answer to all the three questions should be a no. White to play and checkmate in 1. Right, white to play and checkmate in 1. How will you checkmate the king? Okay, can you go here? Yes, you can go here. But is that a checkmate? No. Because what does question number 1 say? Can the king run away? Of course it can run away. Right? Can the queen go here and give a check? No, because the king can capture the queen. There's nobody defending it. Right? So the correct answer is, because the bishop protects the queen and we need to control all the squares around the king, what do? We use this line, and you simply put your queen on b8. Now let's go to each and every question. Can the king run away? No. Right? Can the king capture the queen? No. Can the check be blocked? No. Because, again, there's no space in between. So this king is checkmated now. And the last question. How do you checkmate this king? Right? Let's take a look at all the escape squares around the king. Right? Are these two squares escape squares? No, because the rook protects them. Are these two squares escape squares? No, because the queen protects them. Which square is an escape square? The g7 square is an escape square. So without using the rook on f5 and without using the queen on h5, right? Because these two pieces protect those squares. So without using these two major pieces, is there any other piece which can help white to not only give a check but also control g7? Yes, there is. If you just move the rook from a3 to g3, that's game over, right? All the three pieces, all the heavy machinery are in there, including the queen. So the queen controls the h file, the rook controls the g file, and the other rook on f5 controls the f file. The king has nowhere to go, none of the pieces can come in between, and this rook is completely safe. No black pieces can capture it. So yes, that's what we call a checkmate. To summarize, there are three ways in which you can recognize if your king or your opponent's king is in a checkmate. Ask yourself these three questions and you'll understand. The ones which are on your screen, again, can the king run away, can the check be blocked, and can the checking piece be captured?